en route.
Hey, it's been a while. Post Eddie here. So this video was supposed to come out in 2023, but life and troubles happened. So here we are, about a year and a half later. There will be things I say in this video that are outdated. For example, the references to Insomniac Spider-Man 2, as this video was supposed to release around that time. I had worked really hard on this video, so I'll still release it. Anyway, I had to let it be known that this is why some of the things that I say here are outdated from 2023. Anyway, back to the video. So with Spider-Man 2 having been released on October 20th, 4 days before my birthday, I thought now seemed like a good time to take a look at the first game from 2018. I was a massive fan of the Raimi Spider-Man tie-in trilogy games, especially Treyarch Spider-Man 2 from 2004, which comes as no surprise. I haven't played a Spider-Man game I want to say probably since the third game in that trilogy, close to after release in 2007. So I've been excited at the thought of playing Insomniac's take on my favorite Marvel character. I'm pretty late to finally try this game for the first time. My excitement to get back into web slinging around Manhattan after 16 years or so was some of the most hype I've been for a game in a while. Though, I'm 5 years late to the party. The hype and talk for the sequel's launch had me excited to finally take the plunge back into Peter's world. So as everyone already knows, the game was developed by Insomniac Games and released exclusively for the PS4 in 2018, before Sony's purchase of the studio in 2019. Obviously, Sony published the game. And the game received positive reviews with a score of 87 and a user score of also 87 on Metacritic. Now, I played the remastered version on PC and purchased my copy from Steam. I'm using mouse and keyboard for my first ever playthrough. I would have liked to use a DualSense PS5 controller and try out all the features that offers, but I don't have one yet. Maybe sometime in the future I can get one and come back and see what I missed using a DualSense. For this video, I used mouse and keyboard, which for me worked pretty good, or good enough. As everyone already knows, this is a Peter that's been the webhead for some time now. He's already an experienced Spider-Man, which is a different take but kind of old news already since the third game in the series is released. For me, this was something new, since this was my first time dabbling into this version of Peter's world. Neither have I watched the new movies, other than No Way Home. This game still looks pretty damn good 5 years after release. Graphics still look good and I've had no hiccups as it should be, for the most part half a decade later. The rain feels real nice, and I'm not even a rain-liking type of guy. Swinging around Manhattan feels real fluent with how smooth this game is. All the different swing animations Peter has integrated within the swinging, or movement as a whole, make the game feel really smooth.
10-10, witness called in an active drug deal. Report came in from Lenox Hill.
When I finally decided to excitedly swing my way into this game, albeit 5 years late, but nonetheless excited to dive into a Spidey game for the first time in years. I was looking forward to the addictive thrill of swinging around New York City. Diving off skyscrapers and waiting until the very last moment to spin that web before smacking the street like bugs on a windshield during a long drive on the interstate. Just the nostalgia of being 10 years old, pulling all-nighters, swinging around the dated Manhattan of 2004, and having what seemed like the most fun in life at the time. Being in my 4th grade class and all I could think about is the thrill of diving off the Empire State Building. Shooting a web that attaches to an actual building. The intense momentum had me feeling like I was actually doing this myself, in my thoughts daydreaming when I was supposed to be doing addition, or whatever we were being taught in 4th grade in 04. Just reminiscing about all the fun I had back on the PS2, playing as Tobey Maguire delivering pizza all throughout New York, has had me eager to jump into this game since it released. I didn't have a PS4 at launch, and Sony finally porting this to PC in August of 2022. With the release of Spider-Man 2, I decided it was time to see if this game can live up to the high expectations of my 10-year-old self. So does the game for me live up to what most consider to be the best Spider-Man take since Treyarch? I'd say yeah. It's amazing what Insomniac managed to pull off. The swinging is fun and you feel the momentum as you cut through the air. The combat is also fun and polished, with that Arkham influence.
Oh, come on, fellas. You can't keep ducking income tax like this.
The story is compelling, and I enjoyed where they took it. Though, I felt it was a little rushed towards the late game with Otto. The world feels alive and there's a lot of detail throughout.
If I had a nickel for every don't move.
With all that being said, I do feel it falls a little short in some areas. Let me explain my thoughts.
Whoop his ass!
Obviously, this is all subjective and just my personal opinions. I've put over 80 hours on my first playthrough because I enjoyed it, and many more hours to come as I get the craving to swing around New York. First, the swinging. I really do enjoy the swinging they have here. It's fluent, feels genuine and natural. I hardly use the fast travel, since I could just swing where I'm going and have fun getting there. That being said, the fact that Spider-Man literally can't touch the floor during swinging, that does feel weird and unnatural. Like no matter what, he will stay about a meter or two above the street or whatever happens to be the floor below you as you swing. I noticed this right away at the start of my playthrough. For me, it was kind of immersion breaking. It feels like a safety net. It may take some skill away from the swinging. Just another obstacle removed to make it easier for players to swing. While being fun, the swinging does not have much depth in terms of interactivity. It's easy to get the hang of, but don't leave much room to improve your skill with the mechanic. I feel it holds your hand a little too much, leaving little room for error on the player's part.
Nice composition if I do say so myself.
Don't get me wrong though, the swinging as a whole is great and fun. Probably the best. I plan to play a lot more of the Spider-Man games I missed out on over the years to form my own opinion on whether I think it's the best or not. When diving off a building, the momentum you gain seems to be inconsistent. Sometimes you'd gain the speed you would expect falling 80 stories, and feel the momentum as you take your first swing. Other times, you feel the payoff was lacking and a bit disappointing from the lack of momentum when you take that first swing. The combat is fun and addictive. Just as the Arkham games are from what I remember. Though, it's been quite a while since I played one of those. Being able to take on a group of enemies all at once, like a badass from action movies, something we've all dreamed of being able to do while watching those scenes play out in movies as a kid. While most of us can't do that in reality, stepping into the spider suit and doing that here with ease may just be the next best thing.
How's he doing this? Let's go kill him! Get the spider!
Performing a series of combos using the spider gadgets combined with air attacks is invigorating. Landing a series of punches and kicks, knocking one enemy out and dodging the next dude coming at you by sliding underneath his legs and kicking him off the building, webbing a dude a few meters out from you to the wall behind him, then swapping to any of the gadgets at your disposal to deal with the next unlucky guy, thinking he has a chance to take down Spider-Man after just witnessing you take out his entire group with ease is hilarious. One of my favorite moves to pull off in a fight is the web throw, which actually is the first skill to learn in the innovator branch of the skill tree. This move is always so satisfying for me to do,
Like me, you inherit
whether it be from the ground or in the air. There's different animations for each.
Somebody's shooting down!
You can also do this with objects in the vicinity. You can unlock a skill called Collateral Damage, which has the object knock down the surrounding enemies as you spin it before throwing it at your intended target.
Spider-Man learned to fight dirty!
We can also perform a finisher, which instantly eliminates the enemy, but requires a full concentration bar.
Did you make it out?
Yeah, everyone's safe.
Good job.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah?
When enemies are thrown off buildings, a cool detail is that Peter never lets them die. I assume Peter strapped a trip mine to each before you launch them off because a web always shoots out from their bodies, bringing them to the nearest wall.
Hey! He's webbing me!
Pro tip. Live by the beatdown, die by the beatdown.
Can't let him see me.
The stealth is pretty basic. You know how a basic stealth system goes. Just stay out of sight, sneak behind cover, wait for enemies to turn their back, and sneak past or stealth takedown. Now this type of stealth applies to 2 of the 3 playable characters. That being Mary Jane
Hey, Pete.
and Miles Morales. Mary Jane gets to use a stun gun for one of her sections of gameplay, so you get to stealthily take down enemies. She also gets a little beeper to distract enemies, giving you the chance to sneak past.
Need him to turn away.
Miles also gets a unique way of distracting enemies, by using an app he and his friend developed.
5x5 control. What's that? Hey.
Keep an eye out for this contract.
This app lets you hack electronics, which will distract enemies. Now Spider-Man's stealth is obviously different, because he's not the average human. By getting directly above an enemy undetected, you can perform a perk takedown. I do this to whittle down the number of enemies. Seems we're not able to fully stealth an entire enemy base, unless it is possible and I'm not skilled enough to do it. I'm not sure, because every time I've tried, and only a few enemies in the base remain, somehow, they always detect me.
You can never fully fucking...
Now if this is possible, and you've managed to do it, please share in the comments. Tell me what I'm doing wrong, and critique my untalented stealth gameplay.
Cute when they're incapacitated.
Web Strike can also be used stealthily, and is a good way to take out targets when given the opportunity. Earn XP by completing the main story missions, during combat, completing side activities, challenges,
Pretty good.
and finding collectibles scattered around Manhattan. There's lots of different ways to earn XP.
Haven't seen the city this bad since...
But I believe the main story missions earns you the most. When enough XP is earned, you gain a skill point, which then can be spent to acquire new skills. It's the traditional skill tree. To unlock the next skill down the branch, you have to purchase the previous. There are 3 different branches of skills to unlock, and each contains a set of abilities that pertain to that category of Spider-Man's skill set. The innovator branch of the skill tree is combat skills. The way in which you obtain these skills is the same for all 3 different branches. You have to purchase the first skill to start. In this case, it's the web throw, one of my favorite moves as I mentioned earlier. The moves you can learn from this branch range from upgrading the web throw ability, different types of takedowns, then being able to yank weapons right out of an enemy's hands with the web. Next is the defender skill set. These abilities are a mixture of focus generating skills down to the ground strike, which allows you to smash the ground with explosive force.
Hey, geniuses!
Lastly, the web slinger branch, containing abilities to launch enemies into the air to perform air combos. Traversal mechanics, and swing kicks. There's a variety of unlockable gadgets with the different abilities. Some web-based, some use electricity, and a couple of other types of gadgets. Each gadget is upgradable, whether it's extending the duration of the effects after use, increasing the capacity of uses, to shortening the recharge time, or refill time. There's a few unique upgrades pertaining to the abilities of certain gadgets as well. They all are pretty useful in combat. I like to mix it up and use the variety of gadgets at my disposal in combat. Sometimes, when swapping gadgets, it seems to not swap. Not sure why this happens, but it did happen often. Seems to be inconsistent on whether it switches to what I'm swapping to or not. Most of the time, it will, but other times, well, it does not. Not a major issue, just a minor inconvenience. Let me know if you ever had this issue as well, or if it's just me. We got a pretty big variety of different unlockable Spidey suits that come with their own unique abilities. These are called suit powers and are interchangeable, as they can be paired with any suit. Suit mods can also be purchased with tokens you earn from doing the various challenges around the map. Taking photos of monuments or landmarks will earn you landmark tokens. Defeating criminals committing crimes will also earn you tokens, but these are crime tokens. There are 6 different types of tokens to be earned from completing different activities around the city. These tokens can then be used to purchase suit mods, each mod requiring a certain number of a specific type of token or 2. Suit mods will affect the stats of the suit you apply them to, such as increasing defense but decreasing offense. Others may do the opposite. Some will increase your stealth and decrease traversal, or vice versa with any of the 4 stats. Suit mods will also apply a boost, such as enemies take longer to detect you in stealth, or reduces incoming blast or rocket damage. 3 suit mods are able to be applied at once, and can be swapped on the fly to give you an advantage to any situation you find yourself in. There are also some bonus Spidey suits that don't come with a suit power of their own, but a suit power that you already own can be applied. We get the classic Sam Raimi Spidey suit, worn by Tobey Maguire, which is my favorite. We also get the Mark Webb suit, worn by Andrew Garfield from The Amazing Spider-Man 1. There's quite a few others as well.
Hope it still works.
Once you complete a certain amount of story missions, you will unlock a series of side missions. Once unlocked, I assume you'll eventually just come across this guy asking for your help as you swing through the streets of Manhattan. If you decide to help him, he asks if you can find his missing friend each time you meet him. The only information you have to track him down is a photo of his last known location. Usually the photo will have something recognizable like a monument, certain type of building depending on the area of the city it's in, maybe train tracks or something of that sort. Now yes, this problem was just because my lack of reading and understanding the map. Spider-Man does say what section of town it's located in if you're headed in the wrong direction or in the wrong part of town.
Wrong way. I should go north. I think these tracks are in East Harlem.
The game does say the names of each district when you hover over each on the map. I didn't notice it had this during this mission, so I spent a long time mindlessly swinging all over the city. Like I said before, this problem only became one because I'm an idiot and didn't notice the names pop up over each district in big letters. The game didn't really show me this was a thing either.
Elevated train tracks. Those are northeast of ESU. Looks like there's a bridge at the end of the tracks.
But Insomniac probably didn't expect my dumbass to play this game. In summary, it's my fault for not reading the map like any other person. So not a real problem with the game, just make sure you use all the resources the game gives you before blaming the game for your own mistake. Like I ignorantly did, when in reality, I was the one not to use the tools that Insomniac clearly provided. Spidey has some savage quips here.
I'd tell you to make better choices next time, but let's be real.
Ran me off like a criminal. I got no place to go. Caller, this is deeply disturbing.
Let's play the quiet game.
Some of this doesn't spoil much, but it's late game footage. So if you want to avoid that, then this is your warning. Close to the end of the game, Mary Jane plans to sneak into Norman Osborn's penthouse, hoping to learn information on Devil's Breath. The lobby of the building is full of people. While listening to their conversations, I noticed this.
Mayor Osborn really lives here? I never seen him.
Yeah, that elevator goes straight to his penthouse.
People are talking but have no talking animations, so their mouths don't move, but they're having conversations. I just thought this was kind of funny. Did anyone else come across this? Skipping ahead a bit in the mission, after MJ discovers everything in Osborn's hidden room.
Who's there?
Once Silver Sable is alerted that Osborn's house has been breached, she rushes into the secret room where MJ is snooping. I was so immersed into the game, this scene had me a bit tense at the suspense of being caught. If a game has you like that, then that's how you know it's a good game. While trying to weed my way past all the Sable fools was easy, one moment had me panic a bit. This whole mission had me tense, but not for being challenging though, because it wasn't.
Oh, that was a close one.
More so because I was so immersed into the game, and when MJ jumps off the building without even knowing if Peter will make it in time, best believe I was clenching and puckering up just for our boy Spidey to swing by with the save. Yeah, this is a good game. The Miles Morales sections are neat and move the story along. His gameplay is similar to Mary Jane's, as it's really just more forced stealth with not much depth. Don't get me wrong though, I still enjoyed it as it's a nice break from Spidey, and the story is interesting enough to keep me compelled. Miles and his friend developed an app that hacks electronics. In terms of gameplay, it evolves into hacking nearby electronics that are essentially just distractions, allowing you to sneak by. J. Jonah Jameson has a podcast that will pop up frequently, usually commenting on recent activities that Spider-Man has gotten into. He will also talk about recent events that happen within the story. I thought he was pretty funny. Always find some outrageous way to twist a narrative and somehow always be Spider-Man's fault.
Spider-Man has been seen tampering with these very towers.
The Devil's Breath is gone, but we got even bigger problems.
Rikers?
We have to hurry. Hop on.
Almost awesome.
Towards the later half of the game, the aftermath of the events from the main plot, prisoners are set free to wreak havoc on Manhattan. While swinging through the chaotic city streets, prisoners and Sable agents are out to get you. Pretty much every block, street corner, and rooftop has a gang of enemies that will shoot on sight. These prisoners are armed with rockets, rifles, snipers, and will take half your health if you swing by. It got a little annoying after a bit when you're just trying to get somewhere. Now you can go and take out the groups as you come across them on every block, but there's not much point. There's an unlimited amount of these gangs of prisoners and Sable agents. It can get tedious if you take on the unlimited enemies littered throughout the city. Eventually I got used to it, and it became less of a hassle to deal with. At times, I would just roleplay and try to take on the responsibilities of wearing the spider on my chest. I would take out a gang that targeted me or shot at me for the role of stepping into the city. So there are a few boss fights throughout. I enjoyed each, but not much challenge. At least the difficulty I played. Pretty standard battles, nothing you haven't played before. You know the routine. Run around the arena, or in this case swing, and dodge attacks, wait for an opening and get a few combos in, and back away. Pay attention to the animations of when they are charging up an attack, dodge and counter.
I don't want to hurt you!
A couple of battles you will be dealing with two of Spider-Man's iconic villains. They were all pretty fun and enjoyable for me. I have no real complaints for any of the boss battles. For most of the game, about 2/3 I'd say, Mr. Negative is the main villain. If I didn't spoil the main plot for myself by watching reviews and analysis videos before playing, this would have been a good twist for me. Lee was a good villain, and his boss battles were pretty fun. I haven't read the comics, so I don't know the lore of the character, but his powers are pretty unique. Throughout the city, randomly at times you'll come across a pedestrian that gets corrupted and becomes negative. They'll bolt for you with intent to attack. You put them down like any other enemy, and they'll become themselves again. Thought this was pretty cool, as you're not expecting when someone randomly starts being corrupted. Otto's backstory with Norman is interesting, with them having been friends and starting the company Oscorp, then the fallout of the two, going their separate ways and the experiments they did, later on coming back to bite them in the ass. Well, bite Norman in the ass. With me only knowing the lore and stories from having only watched the movies and played the games.
What do you think you're doing?
This site's been declared a safety hazard.
Stop that right now! This is highly sensitive equipment.
I thought this was all compelling. Otto's relationship with Peter felt like a real connection between the two, with Otto being Peter's employer, for a while at least.
What you got there?
Chinese. If I know you'd be here, I would have... What are you working on?
Oh, just a side project.
Hello? Parker! Just in time to celebrate.
Celebrate? Where are the arms?
The only problem I have is, I felt Otto's descent into madness and becoming Doc Doc felt rushed. It seemed like his whole downward spiral went by so fast. I was barely able to keep up. Felt as one moment he seemed like he still had his humanity, and the next... Boom, the Sinister Six.
I just felt like before I can take everything in, he's ready to pull some insane shit.
Say cheese.
Show us your face already, you friggin' vigilante!
Anyway, overall this was an enjoyable experience. I can see why this game has sold 20 million copies so far. This was a well-written story with good characters that I got attached to. Fun, polished gameplay with straightforward combat. Easy to learn and fun to master. The swinging felt weighty. You can feel the momentum as you weave through the skyscrapers. And web zip for that extra boost. Few minor issues here and there, but what doesn't have issues? Nothing could be perfect, but this was pretty damn good, I'd say. Does it hold up to the high expectations I had from the nostalgia of 2004 Spider-Man 2? No, not really. But that's because nostalgia is misleading, and most times, nothing can hit those high standards of something you loved as a kid. I'm sure when I finally play that game soon, it won't hit those high nostalgia expectations neither. But that's another story, for a different video in the future. As for now, if you have any advice for me to improve, then please, let me know. I can always get better, and I will work hard to be better. Let me know what your experience of this game was like. I know this video is way off from the release of Spider-Man 2, but sometimes life happens and things don't go as planned. If you played Spider-Man 2, share with me your experience playing that game, as I've yet to play it. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like, as that's a big help and very much appreciated. Also, consider subscribing and click the bell if you enjoy my work. Give a comment and let's start a conversation. Above all else, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching.
Should make my day a little easier.